Welcome. This is our first episode with the Greater Merrimack Sauhegan Valley's podcast, The Valley. I'm Janelle Ward. I'll be the host, and you get to be our first guest. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. This is fun, exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. I can't wait to see what happens as it grows. So you're my first test. So you are the relationship manager of Bangor Savings Bank. You are the president of the Milford Lions Club, and just recently you became the chairman of the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce. So where do you find the time?
It's it can be a juggle sometimes. Mainly you just concentrate on the things that you can do. Um, you have to have patience with yourself because it is a time crunch. Can't let yourself get stressed out. But I'm lucky enough that I work for a company that gives me some latitude on these things. So if I have to jump away for a little bit to deal with either the Milford Lions Club or the Chamber, I know I can do it without um, putting stress on my coworkers and with the blessing of the bank. So it works out pretty well. And it can be a lot sometimes, but it seems like the right time to do it. Sit around and wait until it gets quiet. Never happens. So it.
Well, it seems really rewarding too, because everything that you're doing is serving your community, which is that it seems to be part of the motto of Bangor Savings Bank. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the motto of the Lions Club as well. And of course, the Chamber, we're serving small businesses in the
Right.
community. So
Changed my middle name to I serve.
I
Um,
serve.
we the Lions Club's motto is we serve. We have the Chamber obviously serving the businesses of our region, and the bank does put a huge emphasis on building our community and being active in our community. So it does check off a lot of boxes for me, as it
And
were.
so is that what you are as a relationship manager? Because I mean, just, to manage relationships, tell me more about that. What does that mean?
Well, it's something of a newer role for most banks. Everyone's been relationship managers, and everybody has um, had that role, whether the title is there or not. What's changed, though, really is there's more of an outbound aspect to it nowadays with electronic banking and everyone having the internet in their pocket at this point. You don't really need to go to a bank anymore. So if people aren't coming to the bank, well, then the bank has to go to them. And that's what this role is really about. It's about getting out, meeting the people and the businesses where they live, as it were, um, and making them know that you are there, you're active in the community, how to find you, and if they can't find you, that you'll come to them.
Hmm. Now, I
That
know.
is the biggest role change as far as this position goes.
Hmm. I know with my company, we use Bangor Savings Bank for our operations account, and I'm very grateful for how approachable you are. The door is always open. It's very friendly. I've never been a number. It's been a very personal experience for me, which is important because that's how I function is human to human interaction. So I think what you're doing is working. And, your face is always at all of the community events, which means you're out there reaching out to the people. So it seems like this is the right fit for you because you seem to be doing it very well from my perspective.
Right. I don't know if I'd say it's because I'm extroverted, but I don't mind going out and meeting people. It's kind of fun. You get to see them either on their home turf or on neutral ground, as it were. So it's kind of a different feel when somebody's in your office. They come into your office, they sit down. It can be very formal. But when I go out to these events and I get to see people outside of either their jobs or certainly outside of my office, it leads to a different kind of conversation where it's less direct. You can be more open and ask more questions about what's going on in their world, what they're doing. It doesn't have to be necessarily about business all the time. Um, it's good. It helps also to put a face to the bank and eventually get to the level where our relationship with Wendy's cleaning services at this point. I like to think that I'm your banker. So
Sure.
if there's a problem, regardless of which bank service it might be, whether it's payroll or merchant card services or corporate services, if there's an issue, you know that you can call Jerry because Jerry's your
Mhm.
banker.
That's right. One of the things I had gone in, I think it's important to highlight is I had gone in to talk to you about wanting to get gas cards for my employees because they're constantly on the road.
Right.
And I was considering that Cumberland Farm or the member card that you can get. And you were like,
Hmm.
well, why don't you try our Everblue card? And I had no
Hmm.
idea about it. I feel like it had just rolled out. And boop, I sat in your office for about an hour and I left and I was set up with an account. And now all of my employees who are full-time, they have those cards. I can monitor each and every one of them
Yep.
and it's so convenient. So just, I want you to tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, when that first rolled out, we were pretty excited because of the level of control it gives our customers over that credit card account. So you as the business owner can add a card for any of your employees. You set the limits, you can set where they can spend the card, you can set how the card is paid, whether the employee pays it or if you pay it. It's kind of a continuation of a lot of the other services the bank provides. We had a third party vendor for credit cards for the longest time. We didn't feel their customer service was up to snuff. As many folks know, when you have a problem with your credit card, typically you end up talking to somebody in Omaha or overseas.
Hmm.
We like to keep things internal because we have better control over the end results and better control over the interactions with our customers.
Hmm.
So the cards, when we found out that we would do them internally, very excited, very happy to see how it would play out with our customers and very happy to be able to serve the customers directly. Um, a lot of we're fortunate in that we're a mutual bank, so we don't have to really push hard to make money for stockholders because we don't have shareholders. We just don't. The customers own the bank, so you own the bank, I own the bank as an employee. So we don't have to necessarily push the envelope for the most money on every product. So would we could we make more money if we had a third party handling our merchant card services? Probably, but the customer service wouldn't be there. Could we save ourselves some money if we didn't handle payroll internally? Probably, but again, the customer service wouldn't be there. So our name would still be attached to it because we're the one that offered you that service. But we would rather make a little less money on our end and control the interactions with our customers rather than
Yeah.
have them rely on some other company that they may or may not be able to reach, or our customers may or may not like the communication and the end result.
Communication and transparency are so important and customer service, like just that relationship is so important, especially in a
Mhm.
small town. Otherwise, it doesn't seem authentic and
Right.
genuine. So I think what you're saying makes perfect sense. So I'd like to switch gears a little bit and I'd like to talk about becoming the chairman of the board of directors this year for the chamber. And
Right.
so a big part of this podcast is so that our chamber and local community businesses can see you and know more about you. And then we'll get, more people on this show as well. And it'll be an extra way for people to really get to know each other. So now they're going to be seeing you. Hopefully, they will have watched this podcast and
Right.
they'll know more about who you are and who you represent.
Mhm.
But tell me more. Like, so what is the chairman of the board of directors? What does the role look like for you this year?
Um, well, it's my second crack at it. Um, at the annual dinner the other day, we had the programs out, and I forgot that it was 8 years ago at this point where I was chairman of the same board. Back then, we were just the Souhegan Valley. We weren't the Greater Merrimack Souhegan Valley at that point. But for me, it really just it's an opportunity for me to help the chamber continue along its path. It's really been it's been doing a fantastic job of reaching out to customers and giving them value for the membership. Liz has done a fantastic job of growing the chamber and putting initiatives out there that really have good value for the people who belong to the chamber. My goal really is to not upset the cart, not to push us back in any way, shape, or form. I think that what I'd like to see is I'd like to see more of the initiatives being taken by the membership. So, for example, you taking the initiative with this podcast. We had some other members recently take initiative and start a women's networking group. That came from the membership, and the chamber gave the members what they needed to run with it. We also, with Mike Athelberg, at the United Way, we initiated and started up a nonprofit networking group. So I want to continue to encourage the members to come up with new ways to leverage their membership and leverage a chamber to get what they're looking for out of it. That, and then the fun stuff like presiding over the board meetings and showing up to the events, and from time to time talking about the chamber. That's the easy part, because the chamber's so well structured at this point that it's pretty much you just kind of step into the role. There's nothing fancy or any deep preparation I have to do to get ready for this.
Yeah, 8 years. 8 years goes by so quickly, doesn't it?
Right, right. But no, I'm glad. I'm glad for the opportunity. I'm glad to be able to help on this. And it's not a heavy lift, but it's a lift that certainly is well worth it for my growth in my role, and it'll help provide that constant steadying hand across chairs. I'm not going to be much different than the previous chair, and the chair that comes after me probably won't be much different from me. We'll just keep the ship steady, keep it pointed in the right direction, let
Yeah.
Liz work her magic, and let the members kind of steer.
Yeah, continuity. And
Right
so
on.
one of the things you had said that was really great was the wild meetings, the women inspiring leadership development. What a
Wild
fun
women.
group.
Yeah.
Wild women. I mean,
Yeah.
I go. It seems appropriate. But you're right. So what's nice to see is that people are becoming more empowered to start these like little subsects within the chamber. And then that way we're not just all getting together for, the main events, the awards dinner, best of, or a
Right.
few other like barbecues. But one other thing I wanted to ask you before we close our meeting is I just want you to tell me a little bit about the Milford Lions Club, and are there any events that you'd like to highlight that are coming up this year?
Well, the Milford Lions Club is, we've been in existence for over 50 years at this point. We we don't have too many big signature events per se. We do participate directly in the Milford Pumpkin Fest every year, which is
Which
great.
is
We
so
have,
fun.
yeah, we have the good fortune of having a partnership with the Milford Rotary, and every year we set up on the community house lawn in Milford. We pay for that between the two organizations. And we'll run a little food area. We'll run pumpkin painting, scarecrow making. In the evening, we'll transition over to a beer tent for the people coming to the festival. But what's really neat about it is that we have the ability, since the lawn's a pretty big space, we do give nonprofits in the area a little booth that they can set up. So you'll see Share there. You'll see the Milford Rail Trail Society there. You'll see a bunch of little nonprofits that are given the opportunity to put themselves out in front of the public. Some people who may not know that they're around. And so that's the big one we had this year. The Milford Lions really serves mostly as a support group for the area. So there'll be a swim meet in the summer. We will set up and we will serve food at the swim meet. The Rotary every year has a senior barbecue, and we'll help them by providing people to cook the chicken or whatever it might be.
Mm.
So we don't have any initiatives right now, other than, I mean, the big thing that we also do is the community suppers every month. We'll have, we will go into Share in Milford and we'll do a big spaghetti dinner for anybody who wants it. You don't have to show a need. You don't have to help. You just come in, have dinner on us, and that's pretty much it on that one. That's a feel good one.
Mm.
We know that we're helping people out, and we feed probably 50 to 60 people a night on those events. So, but if anyone's interested in the Lions Club, pretty much any town has a Lions Club. So take a look. Every Lions Club is doing good in the community, and it's an easy way to get involved. They'll make it easy for you to get into the club, and you can do as much or as little as you want, but you will be helping out your community.
Mm. Yeah, Chris Jansen, the director of Share, she's a wonderful person and
Yeah,
she's such a good team over there. So I think saying something, I just wanted to say a little shout out to her because
right on.
my company's had a relationship with Share for a long time, and I'm always just so enamored with the hard work they put into helping people.
Yeah, they
Um,
do a lot of good.
they do. Yeah, it feels good to do good work for people around you,
Yeah.
It feels good to give.
Yep.
One last question. Where can we find you?
Well, you can always reach me in my office. Well, maybe not always, but you can certainly leave a message. Phone number there is 603-673-8247. You can shoot me an email at Gerald with a G dot Gutierrez. That's Gutierrez at Bangor.com. Or come in and see me at the office. We're at 69 Route 101A in Amherst, right next to Walmart. Um, and before we go, I want to thank you for taking the initiative and getting the ball rolling on this. I hope it really takes off and we can get all of our chamber members to do this with you at some point. So thanks to you, Janelle. Thanks to Wendy's Cleaning Service for giving you the time to do this. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is fantastic. I'm really excited for you, and I'm excited to see what this brings.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I know it's the first one that we're doing, so I think it'll just be smooth sailing as we move forward. So I appreciate your time today, Jerry.
Oh, glad to be the guinea pig. No problem.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye, Janelle.